Hello, I'm Gemma and this is Non-Fic Books, but today I'm going to be talking about some fiction books because I wasn't very well over the weekend and I just want to curl up with cosy worlds that aren't going to push me too much but are going to enchant me when I'm feeling not very well. I certainly don't want to be forcing my brain to work very much because it just wouldn't have. The first three books that I read are a wonderful trilogy that are now part of a larger series, but they were some of my favourite books growing up, and they were only a trilogy at that point. It was a bit later on that they became a six-part series, and that is Juliet Marillier's Sevenwaters series. And the first book is Daughter of the Forest. These books are all quite fantasy but based in the Dark Ages. They're set in Ireland and they're based on Irish myths, which I think is really interesting. They have magical system, including sort of natural elves and magical creatures, but not really so much like elves in the Lord of the Rings way, just nature sprites and spirits. And they all follow feisty women trying to find their place. And the first one is follows Sora, and she has 6 brothers and there is a curse put on them. She has to go through this trial to get them back, and it's absolutely wonderful. Along the way she is captured by a mysterious Briton who is called Red and taken away from where she should be and into this new world to her. Romance may or may not ensue, it often does, but it's absolutely wonderful, and she really creates these beautiful, beautiful worlds. The next one is Son of the Shadows, and this follows the next generation of the Sevenwaters family, and this one follows Leodin, who is captured by the Painted Man and his band of assassins, and it follows her adventures with them, and then when she returns to Sevenwaters, things are not as they should be, and it's about her dealing with that and about how they can save Sevenwaters. And then the next one follows a young woman called Fian who goes back, and it's about whether or not she can be who she would like to be, or whether or not it's already set out what she can be, and whether she has to be evil basically, or whether she can be whatever her heritage is. And it's absolutely beautiful. The settings are just magical throughout, and all of them can be read as standalones. I think really these first 3, I have read the other 3 in the Sevenwaters series, but I haven't read them recently enough to say whether or not they can be read as standalones, but all of these books can be. And to me that's the sign of a really good book in a series, is that it adds more when you read it as a series, but it can be read on its own. The next book was The Dark Mirror by Juliet Marillier, because I just love her writing and I was really in the mood to continue with it. And this one is the first one in the Bridei Chronicles. I'm going to put it down because of the glare. And that was absolutely wonderful, but unlike the other ones, it isn't really a standalone book. It is very much a book leading up and building to the story that will be going on in a bit. And it's lovely. It's based in Pictish Scotland. It's really interesting. Again, you have the similar magic system and druids, but there isn't the same strong female character. There's a good female character, but not the same feisty and main focus that there are in the Sevenwaters ones. And it is rather frustrating when a book is only a world builder. It didn't have enough of a storyline to really fill me with loads of joy just as a single book. It's a lovely series. I will happily read it again, because I've read all of Juliet Marillier's books before, but as a standalone it's not happening, so don't start it if you only want to read one book in that particular series. And then I went on to something totally different, which was The Surrender of Miss Fairbourne by Madeline Hunter. As you can guess from the wonderful cover, it's a totally traditional historical romance. She runs a auction house. He's an annoying, very arrogant earl. Obviously, the only way to get her to surrender is to seduce her. I like her writing style. The characters are really interesting and fun. It's certainly never going to push you or challenge you, but as far as historical romance goes, this is a very, very solid one. It's not one of the best, but it's a really solid, interesting one. And then that kept me in the mood for more historical, not romance, but historical books. And I'm going to put that down because the glare. And the one I read was The Hanover Square Affair by Ashley Gardner. And it is a Captain Lacey, that's the one, Captain Lacey Recency mystery. And it's really not very good. It was fun. It's obviously set in the Regency period. He's come back from the war with an injury, and it's about him solving the mystery of where disappearing women are going. And yeah, it's very simply written, there's not much detail, it's a bit of a romp along, but there's nothing really to sell it. I've got all 4 books on that Kindle thing, so I probably will now and again read another one of them until I've read them all, because they're not dreadful, but there's no real talent, it's just a little bit of a fun romp along. So those are the books that I read while I wasn't feeling very well. Have you read them? If you've liked any of these, let me know down below, and especially if you've got any sort of suggestions based on them, especially for the books, the Sevenwaters books. I love Celtic or Dark Age, and I know Celtic isn't technically a term nowadays, but most people know what I mean when I say it. Celtic or Dark Age fantasy books, especially with strong women. If you know of any books like that, or any that are similar-ish, do leave me a link down below or a comment down below, and I would absolutely love you for it. Hopefully see you next time. Bye!